fun and games until the FBI, CIA started investigating us. And what you're witnessing is a photograph from the year 2007. That was the last year that punk rock existed in my city. That's me in the front watching Tommy P. He was in a band from Philly. I forgot the name of the band. Me in front of a Benz. Oh, I'm trying to find this other legendary photo. That's me right there in the pit with the hoodie on. '06. See, those two guys are fighting. Multicultural. We used to go city to city, traveling with this particular band called Government Warning. Now, Government Warning is a band from Richmond, Virginia. We would go. Well, I was young at the time, so I couldn't go but so far. I couldn't go too far. But if it was a trip that wasn't too far away, only a couple hours away, I would go. Tickets were only $5. You can get in for free, for real. Underground community. Punk rockers. They were anti-establishment, anti-police, anti-government. Now, we were only 15, 16, 17 at the time. The oldest ones out of us were probably 20. And those were the guys in the bands. Now, these guys were from the suburbs, but they had revolutionary mindsets. They didn't want to be like their parents' generation. So they dropped out of mainstream society and they went into the underground. Now, what made the punk rockers so deadly to the American government wasn't the fact that they were a threat to national security. It was what they represented. You got to understand that the punk rock community didn't pay taxes. The punk rock community would create their own record labels and things of that nature. And they would distribute records on vinyl only. That picture right there made it on an album cover. That's me and the singer of Government Warning. That's a War Crime t-shirt that he has on. War Crime has a famous, the guy who was the lead singer of War Crime, became very famous later on in life. His name is Brace. He actually became famous for going to Syria to actually fight against, he fought in the Syrian war. A Jewish kid from California. All 50 states were connected through punk rock. The bands would get in a white van, a cheap van, and go city to city and promote their shows on MySpace and word of mouth. And basically, tickets were basically free, $5 for a ticket. You see 10 bands. All the bands from all over the country would travel to all the cities. There were record labels that existed, and there were venues, and the venues most of the time were actually people's home in their basement, and little bars, thrift stores, and things of that nature, right? So, what punk rock really meant was you got a bunch of white kids from the suburbs who are going against the system. They don't like the police. The police shut down all real venues, so we were forced to have shows in basements. We were actually like basements. They would shut those down too. A concert, or we call them shows, would never go beyond an hour. So if you got 10 bands, you'd be lucky to see 3 because the police are going to come shut it down. And the FBI took notice of it because of what it represented. They noticed punk rock in the 70s when it was first created. They thought it died, but in the mid-2000s it made a resurgence. And like I said, the interconnected aspect of it. You got all 50 states and Europe and Africa. The whole entire punk rock community is connected. It's underground, but all the bands are traveling all around the circuit. All the fans are following their favorite bands. It doesn't cost a lot of money. All you need is gas. You can live and you can stay the night. You don't need a hotel. You can stay the night at one of the kids at the show, or one of the band members. He'll let you stay at his house, or she'll let you stay at her house. There were record labels. They distributed vinyl. There were no CDs or tapes. Everything operated on vinyl. So hundreds of thousands of dollars were generated by these bands. Taxes were not being paid. So punk rock represented anti-government. It wasn't violence. It was more so, we're going to live free. Mind you, everybody's a teenager, so you can't really look at it from an adult perspective. It's a bunch of rebellious teenagers who, most of them are white, and they don't want to be racist. They don't like war. They don't like society in its current form, and they're rebelling against it. Then you got guys like me, people who aren't white, who are being embraced by the community, who are being welcomed into the community, who are being accepted into the community. And that was considered a threat. The financial aspect made it a threat because taxes weren't being paid. And these punk rockers were very, very anti-police. There was a band called Direct Control. And it actually had a song. Every punk band had a song about police brutality. You know? That was like a standard thing. As soon as I press Direct Control in, look, the first song that pops up is Police Threat. You know, so if you were in a punk rock band, you had a song about police brutality because we were always at odds with the police. We were doing illegal shows. If you knew somebody who owned a bar, we would say, yo, we would give you $50 if you let us perform. You know, that's what the bands would do. And then 100 kids would come up in there, tear the place up. The police would come shut it down. The kids would fight the police. So the punk rockers got labeled as anti-police by the government. So they were being watched. Personally, I think that they kept an eye on the punk rock community and really killed the punk rock community because it doesn't exist anymore like it used to. There's no real punk rock community anymore like it was. So once the social media age came about, it was destroyed. But I think they looked at it as a real threat because you got a multicultural world where race doesn't matter, and these people are operating without paying taxes, and these people are operating in their own world. They have a system in place where they don't depend on record labels. They're doing shows in people's basements, but it's a legitimate business. The bands are getting paid for their performances, and everybody knows each other in all 50 states. We had a movement. You know, hey, oh yeah, today war crimes coming. They're from the Bay Area. Oh man, wasted youth is coming. They're from L.A. Oh, a band. What was it called? Life Threat or something like that. They're from Tennessee. It was interchangeable. So all the groups traveled the whole country. We knew all of them. They were our friends, you know. And I think the FBI and the CIA thought that was a threat to national security. I think they thought it was a threat to the IRS because taxes weren't being paid because we're all teenagers, and they were afraid if these guys are this revolutionary and doing this thing on their own at that young of an age, what's going to happen when they turn 30? You understand? So they killed punk rock. And I want to show you a picture of one of my buddies from back then, Brace. It was funny, man, because Brace was he's a Jewish kid. He came from a really, really good background. He came from a really wealthy background, but he was a punk rocker. And he did not want to live the life that his parents wanted him to live. You know, he didn't want to live like his parents. Brace Belden. That's him right there. He was in a band called War Crime. And he became famous because he decided to go fight in the Syrian war. And Brace was a guy that's the same age as me. We're 33 now, but I met him when I was 16. He was a legendary figure in the punk rock community. And that's Brace. He actually has a Wikipedia page and everything. He became famous. But the Brace I know was in a band called War Crime. Now, War Crime had a song. Their most famous song was No More. I don't want to go to school no more. I don't want to go by your rules no more. Very, very revolutionary talk, especially coming from a Jewish kid from a wealthy family. You can imagine what their parents thought. Why is my kid so revolutionary? Why is my kid so angry? Why is my kid so determined to be anti-everything? You understand? We were 16 at the time, 17. We're just getting to know ourselves. This is what Brace was known for. Give War a Chance was the name of their EP. It was vinyl. It had like 4 songs on it. Give War a Chance. He said, I don't want to be. He said, I don't want to go by your rules anymore. I don't want to go to high school anymore. That's why they were worried, man, because something really could have evolved from that. So they had to kill punk rock. So R.I.P. to punk rock. Had a lot of fun with you.